Had to come back and do another video. I was live a few moments ago, but one thing I didn't touch is on the press conference. Give me a second here. Let me just make sure I'm live. Um, it'll take a few moments to verify this. Going on my laptop. Give me one moment and we'll get into the Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Bud Crawford New York City press conference. Okay, cool. It looks like I am live. Okay, cool. It looks like I am live. Yep. Okay. So let's talk about size. It is evident that Canelo Alvarez has been fighting at 168 pounds and that Terrence Bud Crawford is moving up in weight to meet Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. But if you saw the press conference that happened a few days ago in New York City, near the end of it, Terrence Bud Crawford stepped up to Canelo Alvarez. Not only stepped up to Canelo Alvarez, but actually pushed Canelo Alvarez back with his body. I was pretty surprised of seeing that because it is clear that Canelo Alvarez is going to be the bigger fighter the night of the fight. But Terrence Bud Crawford stepped to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez got pressed. Canelo Alvarez got pushed back, and eventually he ended up pushing Terrence Bud Crawford, and it might have been a gimmick. It might have been a publicity stunt, whatever it was. We saw Terrence Bud Crawford step up to Canelo Alvarez. And look, if you look at it realistically, they are around the same height. Canelo Alvarez does have a bigger frame than Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford, most of his big fights has taken place either at 147 pounds or 140 pounds. So Terrence Bud Crawford, he is the smallest man. That being said, at this level of the pinnacle of the sport of boxing, it is not just about size, it is about skills. Skills pay the bills. Take a look back when Manny Pacquiao fought Margarito. Margarito was a big fighter. Manny Pacquiao was a smaller fighter, but skills paid the bills. Take a look at Floyd Money Mayweather when he fought Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez was the bigger fighter, but skills pay the bills, and Money Mayweather got a victory. Take a look through the history of boxing. Even currently, if you look at Alexander Usyk against Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, skills pay the bills. Alexander Usyk against Tyson Fury, skills pay the bills. So folks, it's not just about size, it's about skills. And when it comes to skills, we have an even match. Canelo Alvarez is very skillful. Terrence Bud Crawford is also very skillful. And here is where it's going to get tricky. Canelo Alvarez has the experience advantage. Even though he has fought many fighters past their prime, many elite fighters past their prime. I'm talking about a Miguel Cotto. I'm talking about even a Floyd Money Mayweather. Folks, Canelo Alvarez has learned a lot from fighting folks like Sugar Shane Mosley. Canelo Alvarez has gained a tremendous amount of experience and is reflected when he's in the ring. He is patient, he is looking for a shot, and he knows how to attack. On the other hand, Terrence Bud Crawford has fought good competition, champions, and but here's where it gets tricky. And Canelo Alvarez mentioned this in an interview. He asked Terrence Bud Crawford to name an elite fighter that he has fought, that Terrence Bud Crawford has fought. And Terrence Bud Crawford did not really had a sufficient response. That being said, Terrence Bud Crawford has fought extremely good fighters like Errol Spence. Terrence Bud Crawford has fought good fighters like Sean Porter. Terrence Bud Crawford has fought fighters like Kell Brook. Terrence Bud Crawford has fought fighters like Benavidez. These are all good fighters. Maybe not elite fighters, but Canelo Alvarez fought elite fighters past their prime. So, look, I say that to say that yes, Canelo Alvarez is going to have the experience advantage, but Terrence Bud Crawford is used to fighting good fighters. So, let's go ahead and talk about the fight. The way I see this fight shaking down is two ways. Let's first talk about it from a scenario on how Terrence Bud Crawford can work his way to a victory. And then we'll talk about how Canelo Alvarez can secure the W against Crawford. So if Crawford is looking to win the fight, he is going to have to stay calm. Stay calm because he can get very hot-headed really quick, and that is going to be to his own detriment. Crawford is going to have to punch, clinch, move around, punch, clinch, move around. The one nice thing about Terrence Bud Crawford offense is that he can punch in between punches. And the last person I saw that do that with Canelo Alvarez was Floyd Money Mayweather, a fighter that can punch in between punches. And that, I believe, will make a difference in the fight. Now, the question is, are those punches going to be sufficient to put Canelo Alvarez in danger? Or is Canelo Alvarez going to walk straight to those punches and then unload his shots against Terrence Crawford? That's the question. If Crawford gets off his punches and they are not doing any damage at all, then it's over. I see a Canelo Alvarez walking down a Terrence Bud Crawford. But let's say that they are interchanging punches and Crawford jabs, taps Canelo. Every time Canelo Alvarez is attempting to unload a flurry, I can see a frustrated Canelo Alvarez. So that's how I see Bud Crawford working his way up to a W by unloading his shots, being patient, tapping Canelo Alvarez, frustrating Canelo Alvarez. And look, that would be good for boxing. We'll see a rematch. I'm sure that Turkey will like to see a rematch because Turkey has invested so much money in the sport of boxing, and it is time that boxing starts giving him back a little of that financial assets that he has invested. Now, let's talk about how Canelo Alvarez can win a fight against Terrence Bud Crawford. We know that Canelo Alvarez is going to be the bigger fighter. We know that Canelo Alvarez is going to have the power advantage, but is he going to have the speed advantage against a Crawford? The answer is no. I don't see Canelo Alvarez being faster than Bud Crawford. That being said, I do see a Canelo Alvarez who can become extremely strategical and punch Bud Crawford to the body, slow him down, and then eventually to the head, periodically breaking down Terrence Bud Crawford. So those are two ways I can see the fight going. Bud Crawford winning via the scorecards, or Canelo Alvarez breaking down Terrence Bud Crawford. Folks, as we get closer to the fight, I'll keep on dropping these live videos. So if boxing is what you're looking for, hit that subscribe button and I'll keep the videos coming. Peace.